Fun to meet you through a common friend, MJ Gottlieb.
MJ is my guy.
He is an entrepreneur and is working on a series that I'm actually excited to ask you some questions that pertain to it, the Lemonade series.
Yes.
We know a lot about your successes, and those are fairly well known, but I'm betting there are things nobody knows yet about things that brought you to this experience. Have you made some mistakes, and if so, what did you learn from them?
The question is not if I made mistakes, it's how many I've made. And
You're keeping count?
I don't think I can keep count because I've made way more mistakes than I've made, successes. The saying is, if you're not making a lot of mistakes, you're not making a lot of moves. Earlier on in my career, one of the biggest mistakes I made was, I took out a $120,000 mortgage on my home, which everybody's aware of, but I depleted the capital so quick because of my lack of financial intelligence that right before I ended up getting a deal for distribution, I was probably down to about $500 out of the money. And often I share with people that some of the main reasons that businesses go out of business are overfunding. Somebody will go out and they'll take a $100,000 loan for their bakery or something of that nature, and they'll spend it before they've sold one cupcake, because they'll do this great registers in this great room, and then all of a sudden, when the business does catch up in maybe a year or 2 years, the $100,000 has been depleted and spent the wrong way. So overfunding is probably one of the biggest mistakes I've made, and I also have made that then when I had real money as well.
Well, it would seem to me that the stakes get higher, the overfunding could be even a bigger issue.
Yeah, because that was mistake number one. Fast forward 10 years later, the FUBU brand was just really, really hot. We felt that we could put out a record label, and we did put out some music, but the business aspect of the music, we didn't make any money. We spent and lost about $4 million. And when you become wealthy or a good position in life, you sometimes, ego comes with that you think everything can be solved because you throw money at it. So I like to practice the power of broke. I like to think of everything like we're broke.
Interesting. So you still practice that today?
I still practice it today. When on Shark Tank, when I meet the entrepreneurs, giving some of them $1 million is like giving them $2, because they're going to think that they can ramp up and just buy everything, and that's going to solve the problem, when it's really sales. It's really getting out there and knowing your customer and making sure that you sell the product. You don't go and purchase a $500,000 worth of inventory because you just think it's going to sell. The power of broke is what I emphasize.
In your earlier years, did you find it difficult or easy to find that funding?
I found it difficult to find the funding in the early years because I just didn't know what tools were out there. And right now, I actually have an academy called the Daymond John Academy, where we try to give people, access to this information, whether it's, do you need venture capital? Do you need factoring? A lot of people don't even know what factoring is.
I know what factoring is. I've written about factoring.
Right. But many people today don't know that. They go out and leverage their credit cards to the tilt. They go and then bust open their 401k, and before they know it, they've lost everything.
So on Shark Tank, when you fund somebody or make a selection, how much of your input and advice are you giving them along with that funding?
Well, it all depends. There are some people that come on the Shark Tank that actually I'm looking for advice from them because they're young, they're digital native, and they are doing amazing things, and all they need is an infusion of capital. And then there are others that they have been doing really great things, but they need it a little tightened up, and they need to maybe understand a little bit about licensing or distribution or manufacturing. So it all depends. The more of the money I give, the less of the advice I need to give, because they generally need the money because their sales are exceeding expectations.
Are there any notable mistakes? People who go onto Shark Tank, what are the most absurd or wrong thinking oriented things that you've seen?
Well, people going on the Shark Tank, they think that because we have money, we just want to give it away, and they evaluate their company at unreasonable, valuations. I wasn't shocked about it the first year, but after seeing 4 or 5 years of how we interact and what we look for in companies, people still come on there and say, my company's worth $20 million because I will do that in 10 years. But the value of the company today is not worth that. People coming on there saying that, you know, if I only got 1% of 1% of 1% of a $70 billion market, you know, that's their reasoning for why their company is going to be successful when, you know, the bankruptcy market is probably bigger than that, right? So mistakes can be made. And people who just don't know their numbers. They have no clue about their numbers.
So it sounds like they'd be well served if they go to Daymond John Academy first.
They would be well served, or you know what? Just watch Shark Tank some more and just get to know your numbers.
That's a good idea.
That's all it is, you know. Just understand your business, because if you're supposed to know every single thing about your business, from your numbers to your customers. You know, when I finally got a deal with Samsung, I went over there and I said, this is who my customer is, this is how much they're willing to pay, this is how much they're not willing to pay, here's where they live, this is what they listen to, this is what they watch, and this is what they eat. And I knew it, and I can bet the farm on that.
Well, you've had good experience over this period of time.
I have.
Plenty to add to the Lemonade interviews, and I thank you so much, Daymond John.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.